technically you are also part of the Addams Family universe.
Oh God, the Addams Family Funhouse. Horrible.
Welcome, friends and fans, to another edition of GalaxyCon Live, where we are bringing the convention experience directly to you. And today we are going back to 1313 Mockingbird Lane with the cast of the Munsters. So without further ado, let's head on down to the basement and see who we find in Grandpa's lab. Our first guest is an actress whose credits include Easy Come, Easy Go with the king himself, Elvis Presley, and Bewitched, and multiple roles in television. Today she joins us to discuss the role of Marilyn Munster. Please welcome the still lovely Pat Priest.
Hi, Patty. How are you?
I am good, Pat. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Oh, everything is great in your corner of the world?
Well, it's raining now all day, but other than that, everything's fine.
That's fine. It's raining here too in Florida. You know, the Florida Tourism Board doesn't want people to know how much it rains in Florida, but we'll keep it our secret.
Well, we're very thrilled because we've been in a drought period, so it's good.
Well, yeah, it is indeed always good. Pat, so glad to have you here. Glad to see you in good health and good spirit. Thank you for joining us today.
Well, thank you. It's my pleasure. I'm delighted to do this. You know, actually, this is the first time I've ever done this, so bear with me, fans.
No problem whatsoever. And let's bring out our next guest. He is an actor whose body of work includes My Three Sons, Lidsville, and of course the highly undervalued animated film, The Phantom Toll Booth. Today he joins us to discuss the role of Eddie Munster. Please welcome Butch Patrick.
Hello, everyone. How are you? How you doing?
Butch, good to see you again.
I'm here with a pair of Pats.
Yes, we got three Pats. You know, we got Pat Priest and Butch Patrick, hosted by Patty Hawkins. This is what are the odds of that?
Trio.
Certainly. So Butch, you are in a remote location. So we're gonna get on through this. But so glad you could join us. And if you have to get on board the plane, let us know. We'll take care of it. So.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
No, it's all good, boss. It is all good. Pat and Butch, thank you for joining us. Welcome to the GalaxyCon virtual stage. So glad to have you here. Our team is going to go to the chat room right now, pulling out the questions for us. In the meantime, I just like to throw this out. Butch, I've heard this story from you, but I want our audience to know. And Pat, I would love to hear you as well. How did you each get involved with the Munsters? And Butch, I believe you come first.
The show had been cast with another. In fact, it's kind of like a similar thing for Pat. She replaced the Marilyn, and I replaced another Eddie. They had a different mother. Joan Marshall was playing Phoebe, not Lily Munster, and I had done the real McCoys, and they flew me out for a screen test. And lo and behold, they hired me and Yvonne DiCarlo on the spot and said, make arrangements to stay in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm. There you go. And you were carted back and forth, though, as I recall.
Yes, I did. I lived with my uncle. I hired a woman to take me to work, and then I flew back to visit my family in D.C. once a month.
Yeah, I remember we were on stage. We told about those crazy things. A kid your age taking the red eye.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, and Pat, when did you get asked to come on? Hey, want to come in and read for Munsters?
Well, Beverly Owen, who was the first Marilyn, she did the first 13 episodes, and she was leaving because she was in love with a boyfriend in New York. And so they were testing, and they tested 5 girls one day, and we were tested on a Wednesday. They called me on Thursday to tell me I'd gotten the part. Friday, I signed the contracts, and Monday, I started working. I never met Beverly Owen, never saw her. Unfortunately, I would love to have met her, and I started work, and it was just a real quick, unexpected, pleasant thing to happen in my life.
Yeah, very much so, very much so. With all the any television production is fraught with challenges, but a show involving the special effects, the makeup, the props, and everything in the ambiance of the show, for each of you, what was the craziest day that you can recall on the set of the Munsters?
Go ahead, Pat.
Oh, every day was crazy. I mean, the play between Grandpa and Uncle Herman, they were always putting each other on, always doing practical jokes. So you never knew what to expect. And of course, some of the funny things was when the special effects didn't work, something went wrong. Uh, the makeup, they had to change and do different things. Um, for me, of course, one of the best things was I didn't have to wear all that makeup. So I didn't have that problem to get out of at the end of the day.
Very true.
I recall one of the more interesting things that used to occur. Universal had just started the tour, so when we would be on the back lot doing exteriors in front of the Munster house, we would hear the microphone of the gentleman coming down the street, and we would have to stop and let the tour go through because the tour had precedence at that point because Universal had such big plans for the tour that it was taking priority over the TV shows, and that was kind of weird. But it was fun because people love seeing us.
Yeah, that's fantastic. What was your reaction when each of you first saw the Dragula?
Oh, that was cool. I loved it.
Butch sees it every day.
Yeah,
he has it.
Well, George
does
Barris,
have it, so.
Yeah, George Barris was, in my opinion, him supplying us with the Munster coach and the Dragula was like a home run for the show because he was just down the street. I used to go down to his shop, and those two cars were so iconic that a lot of people watched the show just for those cars, in addition to the rest of the reasons.
I did a photo shoot with them for George Barris with the Munster coach in a bathing suit, of course, which they'd never let Marilyn do when I was when we were at Universal filming.
Yeah.
So that was and it's a wonderful car. It's wonderful to see.
Yeah. And of course, the irony was designed by Barris, who also did the Batmobile for the Adam West series, which... Yeah.
took us off the air. Yeah.
Well, and we also had Grandpa's car.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, that was the Dragula. And then the Munster coach.
Yeah, the coach.
Butch has them both.
I just thought it was funny that we could actually call the Dracula. Grandpa was Dracula, and the name Dragula was such a great play.
Yeah.
Great name.
Yes.
Absolutely. I get them mixed up every now and then, but yeah, they were great cars.
What's been your favorite memory to come from being a part of the Munsters?
For me, the cast, I worked with fantastic people. We became a family personally as well as professionally. So it was always something to look forward to. It was never a chore.
For me, it's the fan base that I'm out involved with, traveling around the country. Pat occasionally comes out and joins us, and we always have the greatest fans in the world. And kids are watching it with their parents and their grandparents and their great grandparents.
Yeah.
And it's amazing that a little 2-year show from 57 years ago has done so well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's wonderful that we have brought our fans wonderful memories, but also we have great memories.
Absolutely. And one of those fans of the show is Rob Zombie, and he is doing a new version of it, and a lot of fans are asking, and I know, Butch, your private chats came up a lot too. It's just what's your do you guys have any gut reaction to what you've been revealed so far about it?
Well, I think he's going to do a great job. He's a big fan of the show. He is capable of doing stuff other than just, gore and blood and scary terror stuff. So it's interesting to see I know who Danny Roebuck, who is the co-star as Grandpa. I know how well he did. And I think it's going to be wonderful. I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, I am too, because we really don't know how they're going to portray it. portray us, and it's going to be very interesting to see.
Very much so. So we October of next year, and maybe we'll have Io back. And we'll talk about it then. In the meantime, we're good to go on our audience questions. So let's go and roll our first one. And here's one from Brian. Wants to know for each of you, do you have a favorite episode of the Munsters,
Yes.
and what is it?
Well, with any episode, I had more than 3 lines, but the ones that come to my mind for me was A Man for Marilyn, when Grandpa was trying to find a boyfriend for me, and my other favorite was the Fregosi Emerald.
Mm-hmm. I enjoyed Zombo and Eddie's nickname, where I grew a beard, and where Louis and I was a TV host.
Yeah, that was a good one.
And Hot Rod Herman with the Dragula.
Of course, yeah.
And Come Back Little Googie with Billy Mooney. There's a bunch of them.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm still very fond of I forgot the episode name, but when Herman has turned normal. So Fred got to work that week without the time of the makeup.
Oh, that was a real treat for him.
I can imagine. I absolutely can imagine. So it's just the reactions and everything else. So good stuff. Great question. Thank you for that one. What do we have next? From Alex. I'm going to rephrase this question. Have you ever found yourself in possession of any of the props or costumes from the series, besides the vehicles, of course?
I had a Woof Woof doll. Eddie Keys, the prop man, gave it to me 6 years after the show was over. And I had one of my little suits.
Okay. Does it still fit?
Nope.
I have absolutely nothing.
Oh.
When I have done memorabilia shows, I have bought things, from the shows. I was going to say I have the leopard bathing suit that I have in my pictures with the Munster coach, but that wasn't part of the Munster show. But no, at that time, we didn't think about memorabilia and keeping things. It was a job.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I've thrown away many retirement funds, but
Alex, great question. Thank you. What do we have next? Here's one from John, who wants to know, did you have any input into how your characters developed?
No.
No. We are whatever they told us we were.
Right. Absolutely fair. Yeah. Theoretically, I think if the show had gone on longer, then maybe you might have had that opportunity. But yeah, it was but there you go, John. Sometimes you get short ones. Okay. What do we have next? From Nikita. Do you think a Munsters Addams Family crossover episode could have worked?
It'd have been fun to try.
Yes.
We do shows with the memorabilia shows, and it's fun. And we were always kind of competing on Netflix or on the some of the other networks, Nickelodeon, when they do marathons. And of course, the Munster always wins, and I don't hesitate to rub it in to some of the cast members when we do shows.
There you go. So, Butch, you don't think it would have worked?
I don't think so, no. That would have been, like you said, it would have been fun. Do a Family Feud or something, yes.
That could have. And let's not forget, Butch, technically you are also part of the Addams Family universe.
Oh, God, the Addams Family Funhouse. Horrible. Good people, but a horrible show.
Absolutely. And if you don't know what we're talking about, just Google it, folks, and we'll leave it at that. So, Nikita, great question. Thank you. And what do we have next? And here's one from Sam. How long do each of you have to wear makeup for your part? So I'll just say, how long did you spend in the makeup chair?
I was an hour a day.
It's not 30 minutes.
No.
It's not bad. How long did Al and Fred and the rest of the cast take?
Fred was 2 hours and Al was a little over an hour, as was Yvonne.
Okay.
I was 30 minutes. Beautiful. And at the end of filming, I could get in my car and drive home. I didn't have to take anything off. It took them almost the same amount of time to get out of the makeup at the end of the day as it did to get in it.
That's kind of how it usually works. Sometimes a little bit less and everything.
I'm gonna pull the plug just for a second. Plug in my power source. I'll be right back.
No problem. No problem. And I also, if I understand correctly too, when the decision was made that it was like, okay, we're definitely going to do this in black and white, I think they were able to simplify the makeup a little bit.
Well, it was a shame it wasn't shown in color because the makeup was fabulous. And the makeup, the sets, and everything, it was in color, but people didn't experience that. They saw the black and white, which was very effective for the type of show that it was.
Yeah. Yeah, I can understand they wanted to evoke the classic Universal monsters, stuff like that. So, but you're right though. All the color footage that exists is it was a beautiful job, and everything popped. So
yes, it was
6 of one, half dozen of another. Let's do another one. And here comes from Anthony, who wants to know, what helped you to relate to your character on the Munsters? And of course, Pat, your character was interesting because she was the not good-looking one by their standards.
Oh, that is exactly. It was always, oh, poor Marilyn.
Yeah.
They always felt so sorry for me. It wasn't easy to relate to the character because I was a young girl, although I was older than the part that I was playing. But I'd been there not too many years before, so it was easy to relate to. I could just basically play myself.
Sure.
I'm back.
Hey, he's back. All right. Question on the table from Anthony, who wants to know what helped you relate to your character?
Oh, I was very lucky. I just always got to play myself, and my interpretation was what the director was looking for. And the trick was it wasn't tweak it, so I was a regular kid, and the makeup did the rest.
Yeah, and I think that was, I think that goes back to the charm and the longevity of the show, and that they were looking at these monsters, but they were a very, very caring and sweet family, and I think that goes back to it too. There's a gentleness underneath the whole show that I think is what really carries it through.
Yeah, you never thought of Fred Frankenstein. He was always lovable Herman Munster.
Yes.
And we were a functional family. We're a little strange, but we did all the grandpa went to work, Uncle Herman went to work, Lily was a stay-home mom, Butch went to school, little Eddie, and Marilyn went to college. We functioned as a normal family in kind of a strange way.
Yeah, absolutely. Anthony, great question. Thank you for that. Hey, let's have another one. And here's some Sean. Oh, since it's Halloween season, do either of you have a favorite scary movie?
I do. I enjoy The Creature of the Black Lagoon, even though long before he became Uncle Bill on our show.
Well, I do not have any favorite scary movie because as a child, and in fact, even up into my teen years, my mother would never let me go to any movies, any scary movies. Mm-hmm. And I can remember when Frankenstein and those movies came into town, and I'd say, but everybody in town is going, everybody's going, all my friends. And she'd look at me and she'd say, but you're not. So to this day, I cannot watch scary movies because they really scare me.
Well, there you go. Sean, thank you. Fun question. What's next? Here's one from Gary, who wants to know, what was your most memorable moment that happened on the set?
Pat?
My moment. Well, I don't know that any one particular time would stand out. I think a memorable time was when we went to Marineland and filmed there. That was different and fun, and with the dolphins and everything, that was a different episode. But I think, in general, all of our times were good.
I remember one time we had a lot of guests and visitors come to the set, and at the time in 1965, the Mercury 7 astronauts were like God. They were like rock stars, bigger than rock stars. And Wally Schirra came to visit our set. I knew exactly who he was. And people that don't know, only astronaut to fly in all three programs.
Yeah.
Gemini into the Apollo program. He came and visited us. I anywhere without my little astronomy book, so having a 37 come visit us was.
That's pretty amazing. That is really amazing. Wow, I envy you for having that. And Gary, great question. Thank you for that one. What's next? Here's one from Jim, who wants to know, what kind of career do each of you think you could have had if it hadn't been cast in Munsters?
Leaning towards being an actor. I hadn't become an actor.
I probably would have become a realtor, because I was flipping homes before that term had even come into being. And I enjoyed that. That was kind of a little sideline. So that's probably what I would have done.
Well, there you go. There you go. Jim?
I think you were doing Beverly Hills, were you not?
Yes, I was living there at the time. trying to.
Oh, very nice. Let's see. I think we got another one. Let's roll another one. And I think I got a few of my own. Here's one from Brigitte, who is, first of all, she says, "You made my childhood." Oh, and she just wants to hear more about what it was like to work with Fred and Yvonne.
Well, thank you. I'm first saying that we made your childhood. That makes us feel very good. And to work with Fred and Yvonne, Fred was brilliant. Fred was a genius. And it was every day, it was every day we filmed, you never knew what to expect. And we became a family personally as well as professionally. And it made a lot of difference, in our filming on this set.
Yeah, that's pretty evident.
They were a great TV pair, literally my mom and dad chose, so me going to work and having a family unit to go was fun. And Fred, great father image. He was very good with kids, as was Yvonne, as was Pat and Al. So being the only kid on the Universal lot, it was good for me, helpful for me to be around such cool people that be very talented, and they treated me as a kid would be. They also treated me with respect and responsibility that I well, and I think they liked the fact that I was not messing up and I was doing my job.
There you go.
Grandpa was my mentor, and if we ever had any problems or working conditions, I'd always go to him, and we kept in touch many, many, many years up until he died. And he was just very special to me, and I'm still very good friends with his wife.
That's nice. What it must have been interesting, because again, Fred and Al just had that synergy from Car 54, so it was just picking it up right where it left off. What did it ever seem intimidating, like how well their synergy was, or was it just there's just you found the place immediately?
No, I think we found a place immediately. It was wonderful watching the interplay and the reactions with them, because they were always pulling jokes on one another. And it was fun. Made the set fun.
Yeah, I would enjoy Monday reading the script because you knew how funny certain things were going to be waiting before it happened. Just by reading the script, you could envision how funny this. They were really good, and then you had the obvious eggs to go along with it, especially makeup and tall. The costume. So it worked well, and it was very fun to see and envision what's going to happen later.
I could very much see that. Do you guys have a recollection of any of the guest stars that you had a really good experience with?
Sure. One of my favorites was Herman the Rookie, because my stepfather was a professional baseball player, and Good DeRocher was the Cubs, of which Kenny was a player, and he got his chance to do an acting job as the catcher, and he had dialogue, and Leo DeRocher was there, and I loved baseball, so yeah, that was one of my favorites.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, we had so many wonderful guests. Don Rickles, remember him? And he was a guest, and Nielsen, can't remember his first name, Butch. He was the doctor.
Oh, Dom DeLuise or Paul Lind?
Paul Lind, Nielsen. Yeah. I'm okay. Yeah, Dom DeLuise was fun. Every week we had wonderful guests.
Absolutely, A-listers all the way across the.
Frank Gorshin.
Oh well, yeah, he's one of my eternal favorites.
Don't mind me. I'm just going to be walking across the airport as we talk.
Not a problem. We got you covered. So, all right, let's go ahead and see if we got another one from our audience. And what do we got here? Emily. Oh, Emily would like to know if you guys had any idols while you were growing up.
You mean in the movies?
Yeah, any of the arts, either movies
mother
or music.
Was my idol.
Yeah. Even though she wouldn't let you see scary movies.
Was my idol. I liked Nat King Cole. I was
Beatles for me.
See, we're in different eras, so we have different tastes in music. Frank Sinatra, I mean, wonderful people liked Maureen O'Hara. So yeah, I'm naming names that probably some of the young people here today don't know who I'm talking about. But that's what happens when you age.
It's all good. It's all good. Beatles. So Emily, there you go. Thank you for that. By the way, Butch, that's an awesome looking shirt.
Hold on a second.
Let's go ahead. We had that question there at the bottom. Go ahead and scroll that one. That's good. Okay, from Jonathan. Oh, if you could hang out with your Munsters character for a day, how do you think you would pass the time?
I do it every day. Except I'm just on a little older level now.
Taking Spot for a walk.
Minus makeup,
Yeah, I'll take Spot for a walk.
I'm happy with myself, so it's great. I can hang out with me as much as I want. And I'm spending a lot more time with me now than I used to, for sure.
There you go. And Butch, you take Eddie out and take Spot out. What was it like with the spot effects? Was that everything you did, or was that just added on later?
No, it was. We didn't have CG back then. We did everything the way you saw it.
Okay.
Can't go across the airport without my mask.
No. We believe in the protocols. There you go, Jonathan. Fun question. And what's another one we got? Let's see. From Sherry C. Do each of you have a particularly, I'll say, positive fan interaction?
Yes. Go ahead, Butch.
No, go ahead. You first.
Well, my interaction was with Grandpa a lot. That that I do remember. But I do remember something very funny when you talk about a memorable fan. My first day of filming, I was in a shared scene with Yvonne, Aunt Lily, and we were standing in the hallway, and there were just the two of us. And the director says, Pat, I want you to come just a little bit further into the light. And so I stepped forward, and Yvonne looked at me and she said, let's get something straight right now, young lady. Don't you ever upstage me. Man, I jumped back into the dark, and I thought, I don't care if I spend the rest of the series in the dark. But wow. You know what? She was a wonderful lady. We got along beautifully. Later, we used to go to lunch all the time, but it was a little intimidating that very first day.
Wow, I can see that. Pat, do you remember the first time you got recognized from being on the Munsters?
You know, I do. I was in a restaurant and someone came up to me and said, aren't you Marilyn on the Munsters? And of course, I didn't feel comfortable with that. I didn't like being recognized, and I just kind of say, yes, I was very timidly, but I don't know. I've never, said, I don't tell people I live in Idaho. I don't say anything to anybody. I don't know. I feel funny. I want to be just like everybody else.
No, that's absolutely fine. That is absolutely fine. Now, Butch, you got a memorable fan interaction you can recall?
I had a lot of fan mail, and I used to have a postcard that they supplied me with that I would send out. And to this day, the picture that I use, which is an Eddie and Wolf portrait. I'm speaking kind of softly because I'm at the gate. Sorry.
No problem. No problem.
But the picture to this day is still the most popular picture, and I have people come out with a postcard sometimes that they received or their grandparents received. They were handed down to. That I'll see my little old school, 5th grade handwriting and 6th grade handwriting. It cracks me up. Amazing.
That is fantastic.
When I see a picture of me, I mean, it's called Watch and Weep. But I don't remember when I was that young and slim.
Oh, not bad. Sherry, thank you. Great question. Let's see. Butch, how much time we think we got with you? Think you'll be able to go now 10 minutes?
Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, let's go ahead and roll another one from our audience, and I might have a few more. Here's one from Olivia, who wants to ask, is there any advice that you would give to an aspiring actor or actress today?
Can I go first?
Sure.
Okay. We have a mutual friend, Pat Priest, and I, Julie Matthews, who teach how to get into show business. And I went on the road with her to help do screen tests for aspiring actors. And the one thing I always told them, get into it because you love it. Don't expect it to be a career. It's good training for anything you do in life. And if it turns out to be something that pays the bills, that's a wonderful thing. But, the chances are not that it's going to happen. So just remain true to working and do it for the love of it, and not because you think you're going to get famous or rich.
Yeah.
The only thing I would say, I kind of liken it to when preparation meets an opportunity. You have to be, if you want to become an actress, I would say do as much little theater wherever you live, participate in local plays and things. But the bottom line is, if you really want to pursue it, you almost have to go to New York or LA to be where it's happening, so that you're there to be called for interviews. And for every reward you have probably about 10 disappointments. So you have to be prepared, for those too. But if you just keep in there and just keep trying, it will probably happen.
Yeah. Someone gave me some really good advice along those lines. He said it's a marathon. It's not a speed race.
Absolutely.
So I always think about it. There you go, Olivia. Thank you. And if that is your direction your career is going in, we wish you the greatest of luck. So, let's see. We have another one. This one for Jeffrey. Oh, Jeffrey wants to know if you have a favorite line or a quote from your Munster character.
Oh, yes, I do. My favorite line was always, "Well, what are we going to do now, Uncle Erman?" I said it many, many times.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
I'm gonna have to go.
Okay, no problem.
Bye, Butch. Have
Butch,
a safe
thank
flight.
you for joining us. Yeah, safe journey. We will catch you next time. All right. Actually, we have we'll do one more question and one more Munster question. I'll tell you what, while I have you here, Pat, I'll ask you about some of your non-Munster stuff. That's okay. Jeffrey, that was a good one. Let's do actually, yeah, go okay. Go roll that question from Dante. Okay. Dante wants to know, would you still dress up as Marilyn for a Halloween party nowadays?
No, I wouldn't go as my character, but I might go as Aunt Lily. My character, I mean, every day I go as my character.
True, very much so, very much so. All right, there you go. And Pat, so Butch is here. So let me ask you this, of course. You got to work with the King, Elvis Presley.
I did.
What was that experience like?
Well, at the time I worked with him, he was very shy. He was religious. He was very much a gentleman. He came on the set with his 10 guys that all worked with him in various positions. And he was not a diva. He absolutely was very polite, took whatever direction the director said. And I have an interesting story to tell you. One day when we were filming Easy Come, Easy Go, I was sitting in a chair when we were chatting with one another before going into a scene. And I told him, I said, well, I'm to buy a car. And he said, oh, are you? He said, what are you looking for? And I said, well, I don't know. Some kind of a sports car. And he said, well, I've got a car, I'll sell you. And I said, oh, Elvis, I couldn't afford any car that you would have. I couldn't afford. And I said, but what is it? And he said, well, I have a 1965 black Cadillac convertible with a black leather interior. I said, oh, that sounds really nice. What would you like for it? And he said, how about $3,000? And I said, sold. So I bought his car. Now, I kept it for 2 years and drove it around, not as Elvis's car. I never told anybody it was Elvis's car. And after 2 years, I traded it in for a Pontiac Grand Prix. Now, I did not trade it in as Elvis's car. I just traded it in.
Sure.
And that was the first retirement fund I threw away. But I sure had a lot of fun when I had it.
There you go. There you go. Pat, this has been absolutely wonderful. Any final words for our audience before we go?
Thanks, Patty. Oh, it's been my pleasure. You've made my day. Thank you so much.
Oh, you might as well. Thank you for joining us on the GalaxyCon virtual stage. It's been an absolute blast to host you. And we have best wishes to Butch and safe travels to him. Thank you to our audience for joining us. Thank you for your great questions. Hope to see you all again soon. Until then, bye-bye, everyone. Take care. And remember that smiles are free. Spend them often.